Hello to you and welcome to another edition of the Youth and Tech Show on NYC Radio 88.3 FM. As always, my name is Sonia Agokian. If you're just hearing me or seeing me for the first time, my name is Sonia Agokian, your Radio Tech bestie, the host for the Youth and Tech Show. And today, like many Tuesdays before now, I have a very familiar guest here in the studio. His name is Emmanuel Ebo. Hello, how are you doing this afternoon?
It's my name that hard to pronounce.
Oh Lord.
Not today anyway. Hello everyone, good afternoon. How are you doing? It's Emmanuel Ebo, a very tall black man on the microphone. And I'm here to, add life or add meaning to her life on this show because I don't know what she would have done. But yeah, thank you for having me.
It's wonderful that you're here only once a week. If you were here the 3 days that I host this show, I wonder what would have happened by now. Your head would have been this big. Well, thank you so much. It's actually lovely having you. So yes, another day. And today's topic, like many Tuesdays before now, we're talking about different soft skills. We've touched so many of them that I fear by the time in like 2 weeks' time we would have touched all the soft skills, and the man might have no use anymore because that's why you're here.
God.
To start chaos is easy.
Don't worry.
To start is to continue. To start it is easy. But I'm kidding. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about negotiation because it's so important in tech world to be able to be a good negotiator. You can be one of the best in your field, but if you have poor negotiating skills, you will always be at the shorter end with the shorter end of the stick. I think that's a
It is.
yeah, shorter end of the stick in the sense that you would maybe do something so good, but because somebody is smarter than you when it comes to negotiating, they're able to undervalue what you've done and just not, in fact, it's not even just for your maybe gigs, the freelance gigs, even at work you need to negotiate for when it's time to get a higher pay, negotiate for that bonus, negotiate for so many things, a better working environment, a better space. You need to know when to say I've done my part and it's time to move up to the next area. And negotiation, I don't say it kind of runs alongside a little with what's that thing we're talking about, when you don't feel like you're worth something. We talk about that.
That's the imposter syndrome.
Yes, I don't say it runs a little with it, but many of these things can, have a way of mixing up in negotiation because it kind of also boils down to how you value yourself, how you view yourself. It will put you in the place as a negotiator, and it will still come down to communication skills because some people think negotiation is, excuse me, Oga, is it that you cannot see what I have been doing? Can you not see? Is your eyes are not working? So we just feel like that negotiation, you have to come in strong with so much aggression,
with violence.
You literally have to say, if you want to be a good negotiator, you need to learn how to be aggressive. You carry your bag and go home and use your aggression to boil peace. So you need to learn there's wisdom when it comes to negotiation. You need to know the how of negotiating, the skills that are usually required to be a good negotiator. And that's what we're going to talk about today on NYC Radio, on this Youth and Tech Show. How to negotiate better. If you've not been negotiating, if you've always been too timid about negotiation, how to go into it with, more positivity, knowing that it doesn't have to be something uncomfortable. True and fair, it might be uncomfortable the first couple of times. Everything new, many things new end up being uncomfortable at first, but after repetition and practice, you get to get better at it.
Yeah, the very foundation of negotiation is that the world is dynamic, things change,
Exactly.
Environments change.
Exactly.
What you know would always change. So as things change, as a work environment change, you should be able to adjust to that change. And how do you do it? You negotiate with your employer, you negotiate with your employee, with everyone to make sure you have the best out of what you are doing. So yeah, that's the key thing here.
Okay. So like we said, negotiation can be to get a new salary, to get a new role. It can be anything that requires you talking with someone, trying to let them see your side of the story and
arrive at an agreement.
Yes, that will mostly favor you, majorly favor you, is a negotiation. So what should we kick off with in this negotiation talk today? Should we talk of skills first or principles or
maybe why? Anyways, I think we've already touched on that. Why you should negotiate.
Yeah.
Anyway, to make people know your value, let them understand that level don't change. Please
see your side.
Let my account reflect this change in level, in knowledge. For example, it's not always about money. Anyway, like you mentioned earlier. Maybe if you work in an office where you are placed in a particular office space that is not befitting of the kind of work you do, you can negotiate for a better office space or even a renovation of the office where you start the moment. So it's not always about like money.
Even it can even mean holidays. You've been working the whole year and notice they've not allowed you breathe. Even Saturdays they are still calling you, please push that code, push it to development, push it now.
Yeah.
And you want to negotiate like a week break. Like you need to know how to negotiate to get things. Like even when you hear something like, but you know if you're not here, like okay, sorry, but this is what I've been saying. We should have an extra hand. Nobody has been listening to me. So there are different things you would want to negotiate over time, not just money, not just salary.
Yeah.
So many things are involved in your job, and you can even be negotiating a different team. You're having a team that is giving you headache. You go home and you're crying at night. Nobody knows it's because you're in a horrible team. And it's time to like tell your boss, look, if you don't help me out here, there might be no me anymore.
Yeah.
I might just die. Obviously, that's not what you're going to say, but I'm just like being a bit exaggerating right now.
You know how they say that a closed mouth is a closed destiny. It's just like that in negotiation. If you don't put your mouth and say it and talk.
What you hear, but you didn't say anything now.
You didn't say
Or am I supposed to be a mind reader?
Yeah.
Even in like normal relationships, like even like this thing doesn't just stop at tech. Even in day-to-day relationships, you are negotiating everything. Even in romantic relationships, people want to say transactional. You are negotiating things at every point in time. Someone is negotiating who's going to do this, who's going to do that. If you cannot talk, every time you will be dying silently.
And when you die, life continues. Just
It
so
continues, yeah. So negotiation is important. So let's get in on answer off the principles of negotiation. What I'd like to say the principle of negotiation is answer first of all, separating the people from the problem, which is very important in negotiation. We find that sometimes when people want to negotiate, they feel like they need to attack the other person. You will see them attacking personality, attacking something about them, and forgetting that what you're trying to negotiate is the problem at hand. So for example, you're trying to negotiate for a higher pay with your boss. Or even maybe you're trying to say, okay, I noticed that you've stepped up so and so's person's salary, and I think that I should also be stepped up. Now, it's supposed to come from the reason of why should you be stepped up in terms of, okay, perhaps you're putting in as much work as they are, more at the same time, maybe even better time. Your work is speaking for itself. You've done something notable in the last couple of months that has made your company, go and edge higher compared to its competitors. But instead of coming from those professional angles, you start with, you're seeing that person there. If you know the rubbish that they do at work, I'm the one that's been covering the bad things they've been doing. You don't start off attacking personalities because even if your boss is thinking, okay, even if I let this person go higher today, there's a time that they want to go high, and they might become at close quarters with me. They might end up attacking my own personality because they want to go ahead. So like, attack the problem, not the person. That's the first thing I would say. Attack the problem, not the person. Know how to deal with the us versus the problem. This is not about this is not about us. It's about the problem. It's supposed to be a team together, seeing how we can go ahead, how we can go further to make everybody's lives better. So we're attacking the problem at hand. Why do I need a 1 week free holiday? Why do I need a new cubicle space different from the one I previously had? Not because these other people are smelly and this. No, I need this space because I think it's going to make my performance better. I'm going to return in much better work, and there'll be less distraction. I find that when I'm there, I end up being more distracted. People are asking me too many questions, but I feel like if I'm in a more secluded environment, there'll be less access to me and I can do work faster.
Focus on what you're
doing.
doing.
So do you have any other principles you want to throw in?
Well, let's just say that in every negotiation there must be compromise.
Definitely.
More like a win-win situation. So if you are about to negotiate, just know that there has to be compromise, and you should be aiming for that. In fact, you should premise your negotiation with the aim of arriving at a win-win situation, how it will benefit both parties, not just you. If you want us to increase your pay, how will that actually help this company? If you want us to move it from first floor to sixth floor in this building, how does that benefit us? So make sure that there is a benefit for both parties, not just you. If you can get them to see that is how the company will benefit from me getting this, it will be easier for them to agree to what you're bringing up at that moment, rather than just going ahead to say, I want this just because I want it. How does that help the other party? So I aim for that win-win situation in a negotiation. That's very important.
Okay, I would say another thing is to focus on interest rather than positions. Sometimes in negotiations, some negotiations can be more like just disagreements, kind of. So it's like you're in a team and the team wants to use maybe agile methodology, and somebody else wants to use, these are like methodologies used in software development lifecycle. We talked about that yesterday. And somebody else wants to use the iterative process, but you want to use the agile methodology. Some people want to start off by saying, I am right. Rather than, okay, if we do so and so, I believe it will help us more. So you're focusing more, like some people come to negotiations wanting to just come out of it as the right person. They don't care. Every negotiation to them is war.
Yeah.
The battle lines have been drawn. And I only see a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
I don't see two winners. There would never be two winners in this negotiation. It's either me or you, and I'm very much standing for me. So you come in, and it's more about the position of who wins rather than the interest of, okay, what would doing this and this, how would it help us? Who is it going to help? So it's like, okay, no, I'm coming in with the idea of, if we do this and this, it's me that's going to be the person that wins at the end of the day. I want it to be on a billboard that I came up with the idea and this, and like, and it's not very, very like positive. It's not a very, very positive mindset to have in the workplace. It's better to say, okay, if we do so and so, even because when you're able to, like, people would know when you're giving your how will I say, you're backing up your negotiation deal when it's personal other than when it's professional. It will slip in. Either your facial expression, something will just throw off the fact that, oh, this is more than professional. I can see this is a little personal. And nobody wants to work with someone who is always taking things personal. Nobody wants to be with that person. You're uncomfortable working with people take things personal. You feel, you just, as much as any convenience you can get, if they cannot be in your team, you'll be so happy. And it's not a good thing to do. So negotiations try to come from the position of the interest. Why is it beneficial to you? Rather than, I'm trying to be right. Just try to come up with the whole thing of, okay, I want to get a higher pay because I noticed that with this less pay, I'm struggling with transports and it makes me come late to work. Imagine I have a higher pay. Maybe at some point I can save up, get a car of my own, come here early, things like that. Not, if I don't get a higher pay, no, use, like, do you understand? Negotiate. Don't try to negotiate like it's a war. It's not a war. It's not a war. Negotiation is just trying to let people see your side of the argument. I'm putting arguments in quotation here. Please, in quotation. Arguments, yes, please, not arguments like bass boats. Arguments more like, I have my own opinion, you have your opinion, and this is why it is. So what other principles would you throw in?
Well, I will talk about adaptability and open-mindedness.
Okay.
When you're negotiating, you should be able to adapt to changes as the negotiation unfolds. As you're going, you might see other reasons to, shift grounds. So the essence, like we said earlier, is to find a common ground, a compromise for both parties. So don't go into a negotiation with such a closed mind, going there, just like you said, so they're going to fight. Just go knowing that you might get to see other reasons from the other party why this had not been done up to now or something like that. So go with an open mind, knowing that things can change. You can change your mind on the spot, or as you discuss with your employer, your employee, anything. Just go in with an open mind, knowing that the dynamics can change. The facts or things you thought were facts could actually not be facts when both parties come together to negotiate. So go with an open mind and be ready to adapt to changes while you negotiate. So yeah,
okay,
that's
thank
important.
you so much for that, Iman. We're going to take a quick break and when we come back, we'll talk about the negotiation skills, because there are skills for negotiation. There's what's going to set you apart as being a good negotiator and a poor negotiator.
Yeah.
So there are two. Not everybody can negotiate. Forget that some people come out always winning. They can still be bad negotiators. Maybe they've just gone and shouted, and the person's like, you know what? Here you go, get what you want. But there's a way you can negotiate that you come out getting what you want and people still respect you. People are still open to negotiating with you in the future, and I think that's what's most important. Because you can do a job for the first time and someone's like, okay, let them just do this job. Next time we're not calling them. I don't have energy for that person. They just don't know how to do it. But the way you negotiate with someone and like, okay, she got what she wanted, but I feel like the way she got it out, I don't feel like I was
cheated.
Yeah, I was cheated. Do you understand? Or my own opinion was not recognized.
Yeah.
I feel like what she wanted made sense eventually, and I was able to see her side of the story as being the right one, in quotation, because we're not trying to go for right and wrong. But let's take this quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the skills needed to make you a better negotiator. All right. Now we're going to dive into the skills necessary for communication, because like I said, not everybody's a good negotiator. Some people are poor at negotiating. There are two types of poor negotiators: the ones that negotiate with aggressiveness and the ones that negotiate out of fear. In fact, they don't even negotiate. There are people that don't negotiate at all. Even if you have been at that job for 10 years and you're paying the same thing and you know it's time to level up, you won't say anything. Then there are those that fight their way to negotiation every single time. And some people might say, yes, you need to fight for what you want, but there's always a way to go about it. There's always the right way. So we're going to talk about the skills necessary for good negotiation right now. So let's start off. What do you think is the first one?
Obviously, communication.
Definitely.
You need to be
Close mouth,
you
close
need to be
blessing.
very good at communication and
Yeah.
communicating your needs and wants. You know, when we're talking, to mention how your body language can betray you sometimes. So you need to learn cues, non-verbal cues, body language, how to express yourself sometimes even without talking. Even when you talk, don't be saying one thing with your mouth and your eye is saying a different story. So you need to be good at communication if you want to be a good negotiator. And communication has to be tailored to the person you are talking to. How I communicate with you, I cannot talk in the same way with someone that I met in a park. Maybe I was hired by a roadside driver to help them do something. They don't really understand some things. So if I want to communicate with them, I have to calm down, use a different language. So who you're communicating with matters. So determine the kind of language you will use when you approach them for that communication or negotiation and how you will talk to them. So it matters that you learn how to communicate. Don't be like you're trying to force things on them or trying to say things that nobody really understand. You have to be clear and communicate what you want to them, and from there, that negotiation can take a very good path.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just opposite communication, not necessarily opposite, something that's definitely you cannot leave out in communication.
Yeah.
The second skill I like to talk about, which is active listening. Please note the word active.
Active.
Because some people say they can listen.
Listen,
but
ask them a question, they will not even remember what you said.
some people are just waiting for you to finish talking. They're the finish talking people. Like,
Yes.
let her just finish talking. Let her finish saying what she wants to say. Then I will say what's on my mind. So learn how to actively listen. The reason why you need to actively listen is because when you come back again to re-communicate or to give feedback based on what you've heard, you need to say, okay, I've heard what you said. And you need to highlight. Because see, there's a way some people talk and you just stop and you're like, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of what you've just said. No, let's just be real.
Yeah.
Somebody can come to say, okay, excuse me, ma'am, I want a higher pay because I think that at this point in time I've worked so and so for your company. You've noticed that I've done a lot of notable things in the past couple of months that have helped our company. You hear things like our company and you're like, okay, she doesn't just see that my company, or
yes.
you understand, our company moved from so and so to so and so. We've been able to now compete with other higher people in the league of tech, this and that. And I think with a higher pay, I'll be able to do better at my job. I'll be able to save enough to maybe even get a car. I understand that might seem a bit materialistic, but really, ma'am, it will help me with transportation, different things. And yeah, and also I don't want to be that person, but I've been getting a lot of other people asking me to come and work at that place. But I think with the rapport we've built so far, you've built it up. And then the person comes to say, you have your boss saying something like, okay, I understand your side of the story. So what's your asking number? For example, this is just an example.
Yeah.
You're earning 100K, and I think for how long I've worked and what I've done, I think I deserve, or perhaps not the word deserve, but you understand, I can earn up to 400K. I believe that I deserve to earn up to 400K now based on what I've been doing. It's like, okay, 400K is not, and I understand you are here, and your boss says something like, however, our resources are a bit stretched thinly, and I don't know, this, we have this coming up, that coming up. Now, your feedback will tell us whether you've heard what she has said. Because when you just hear, however, your mind has tuned off. Active listening requires you to hear even through the things you don't really find comfortable.
Yeah.
So even when the person starts off with, however, you're not going to be saying, they've come again. In your mind has gone to like 10 different places. Active listening will require you to hear them say, however, we are stretched thinly right now, but in the next couple of months, we might be able to look into that. However, you're going to hear, okay, what are the reasons? Then you can come in with, okay, ma'am, I see your reason and I've been here, understand, I've been noticing that. But can we like still step it up a bit? Maybe in the next couple of months, we can now go to that figure you said. Not, it's somehow. You understand? It's very important. Active listening is important because the person will need to understand that you understand my side of the story and they feel more empathetic towards you. Part of negotiation is the person feeling empathetic towards you, because if the person doesn't feel any empathy or sympathy towards you, they are not even listening. Yes, they will dismiss you. That's the word. See, negotiation requires a little bit of empathy from both sides. Empathy requires that I feel what you're feeling. You feel what I'm feeling. If there's no empathy, there can be no good negotiation for you. At least you cannot get anything from it. But yeah, that's enough on active listening. What else
the
would you
point I
say?
was going to talk about, like emotional intelligence. You need to be emotionally intelligent. Know that the person you are negotiating with has feelings as well, and have reasons as well. So you need to pay attention to how they feel and know that their feelings are valid, or maybe valid as well. If you are intelligent emotionally, you would know even when to approach for a raise, for example. Imagine that you work at a company, at a bank, and then in the last quarter they registered losses and everything,
And that's
and
when you decide to go
that's
in.
when so and approach your manager for a raise. I'm sorry, but you have been
Sorry for the
fired.
laugh.
You need to pay attention.
Yeah, paying attention is
to
important.
details, everything. Know when, and even when you are there negotiating, if you think that that tension is rising, you can even take a break and say
We'll
we can talk
revisit
about it
that
later.
another time.
So that you both can come back with fresh perspectives
Yeah.
and then talk about it calmly as adults that you are. So you need to be emotionally intelligent to know when to actually go for negotiation. And even when you're negotiating, you pay attention, like you said, to what
Yes.
they are saying. You know, people listen to talk. Now, I'm just listening to it so I can know how to respond to you.
Yes, when next to
Not,
enter.
not really to understand what you're saying, to pay attention and know what you're talking about. So when you're listening to somebody or when you're negotiating, the word is be emotionally intelligent.
Intelligence. That's very important.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it.
I think what I got from what you just said is the timing. Know when to negotiate. I think the when is very important
Yeah.
because you have to plan the right time. For example, you're understaffed currently at your office. Say someone just left for baby what you call that, maternity leave. The other person had to go out for an outside job on the company's notice, and suddenly two men are down, and that's when you decide, okay, this is time for me to go on vacation this particular week and months that are not around. Meanwhile, you can actually just sit down, just kind of sacrifice, take out the time, do the job, and when they come back, it will be. In fact, nobody's not going is even going to argue with the fact that
Yeah.
you have been working and you deserve that leave, that break. But you cannot just because even your boss can say, like, okay, sorry, I understand, though. But three
No,
people out of the job at the same time, like the first person's on maternity leave, you cannot avoid
Yeah.
that. Second person had to go out on request of, as in, we sent the person, and then you also want to leave. Okay, what like
What should the company do? Should we shut down?
and it shows it
Because-
should also make your boss realize that you don't take the company's values and concerns as your concern,
Yeah.
because people want workers who see what the company does as their own thing. You just don't want to feel like someone who comes there for the paycheck. They want you to kind of feel like a family, feel like someone who sees with them. Understand that even job cuts still happen regardless of whether you see with the company or not, but that is still what they want.
Yeah.
Your boss is going to take you much more seriously when they feel like you take the affairs of the company more like it is your affair than when you're just coming in there for the end of the month paycheck. So these things are very important. So what else would you say is another skill for
Just
negotiation?
say expectation management. Please, you know that
Very
that, you know that
key.
popular meme. They say reduce your expectation. I don't know if you've heard that. I think it's on TikTok or somewhere. Say reduce your expectation.
Yeah.
Because you have a goal in mind. You have an expectation. The person or people you are working with also has their own goals and expectations. Let's use bank again. Maybe
Yes.
they have a target for
Man,
this
what's
quarter.
going on? Are you switching to the banking industry? You
Yeah,
said this
yeah.
is like
There are tech people in bank as
Okay,
well.
that's
so
true,
it's
that's true.
acceptable. So
acceptable.
imagine that the bank has their target for this quarter,
Yeah.
and they're trying to make sure that it reaches this amount and all of that, and you're coming with your own. So they have the expectation, you have yours, and the essence of negotiation is to arrive at a compromise. So you have to manage your expectation. Don't expect that if I say they will accept it that way, know that they too they've got plans, they've got expectations, they've got goals and objectives. So go with an open mind and know that things may not really go exactly as you've planned it or as you want it. And when you get there, it will help you to manage your expectation, make it quite realistic. You not go and say you're requesting for 1 billion naira raise, for example, when the bank has not even raised that kind of money that entire quarter. So just pay attention and know that your employer, your employee, whoever you are negotiating with, has goals and expectations as much as you do. So you're going there to find a common ground, not to impose your own on them. That's very important.
Okay, I think another thing I would say in negotiation is rapport building.
Okay.
It's harder to negotiate with people you have no rapport with.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard, very difficult, because they're just going to be looking at you like this one that's in the morning you just come and you just go to your office and like understand introverts and everything, but there needs to be a little rapport. Even if the rapport is good morning every day, let the person remember that, oh, you say good morning to them every day or something. Rapport is important in negotiation.
Yeah.
You find that people who are closer to maybe the people at the top level find it easier to get what they want than the other people. It's simple rapport. So rapport is very important in negotiating to get what you want. If you don't have good rapport, it's very likely that, and of course, rapport is something that takes time. So you have to understand. In fact, once you get to a new role, it's advisable that you start building rapport early, because you cannot. Obviously, you're not going to start negotiating just at the beginning of a role. Nobody just comes into the work and in the first month they're asking for a break. Are you playing?
They play.
Are you playing in the first month? The month just ended. You're already asking for a 1 week leave. It's not making a lot of sense. So I'll say, like, obviously from the jump, start building good rapport. So that when you get to a point where you have to negotiate for things, nobody feels that, who is this one to negotiate for something?
Yeah.
People will feel okay. They just don't see you at that point as just a random person working there. They've built a kind of rapport that makes them see you as family, and they're like, okay, even there will even be a little bit of emotional sentimentality to it. You find the person is more sentimental towards you, like, you're right, so you actually need this thing. Oh,
Yeah.
you're like, I'll think about it. I'll help you out. I'll help you, like, talk to the person ahead of me and see what we can do. But when you've had no rapport, they're just like, okay, just you. That's when you hear things like, write a report and drop it down. Write something and drop it. That you are writing and passing it on to HR, to everybody, and then there's this person that just walks like, you've not gotten it. I've gotten it. Oh, and just looking like, what did you do? It was simple. It was rapport. They had good rapport, so they were able to get what they wanted much quickly. So yeah, what else would you say on the skills? Because there are so many of
There are
them.
so many. Well, I think this should be my last.
Okay.
Just do your research. Carry out your research and know where or who you are working for. Imagine you are working at a new fintech company that's struggling to, just meet up. with their
Even
budgets
need
and
that, they don't
everything.
even have people investing. They have having
Yes,
issues
they-
having
They are
investors.
struggling.
Yeah,
You might be working so hard, several hours a day.
but everybody's
but
struggling
yes,
together.
They too don't have the money to pay that. So do your research.
Yeah.
Know exactly. Can they really give me what I'm asking for? Even if they have the willingness, is the ability there? Are they capable of providing this for me? So you won't go about asking for things that they cannot provide. I mean it tells so much of the kind of person you are.
Yeah.
For it to walk up to your boss who is just struggling to even pay some people, even you're asking for a raise when they're just starting, they have no investors, they are just having a few customers here and there, and so do your research. And I mean, just that is what I said earlier about knowing when
Yeah.
to
The
actually
emotional
ask for,
intelligence to know when to
something
go
like that.
for
So
something.
that's very important.
Yeah.
Let's not stress it.
So I think I'll end up with integrity, but before that, I want to mention something on negotiation, because I don't want people to think we've just been coming from the point where, because some people can listen to this and go extreme, meaning that because they're trying to be much more, assertive, listen to people, then even when they deserve something, if they're not giving it, they just sit down there. There's also the time you need to know when to walk away. Walk away, not just in terms of walk away and leave the negotiation, walk away totally.
Yeah.
For example, you've been somewhere and you actually deserve that raise, you deserve that new salary increase, that new position, and it looks like you're never going to get it, and you know inside you're deserving. It might be time to start looking at other places for that role, for a new job. It's not a crime. Because you can actually be somewhere and then somebody new comes in and they just give it to the person, meaning that they don't really value your presence there.
Yeah.
So it's time to know when you've negotiated and you know that this is something you really deserve. And if you're not getting it, it's time to say, thank you very much. I've enjoyed working for you. However, I cannot go further. It's not a bad thing. You need to be able to know there needs to be a balance. Negotiation, like in every single thing, there must be a balance. There must be a balance of knowing when to leave that negotiation and say, this one is not going to work. This is a rock and a hard place.
Waste of time.
Let's just go home, pack our bags and go home. And there's a time to know, okay, I'm going to leave it for later. I'm going to leave it for another time. So just know the balance. So the final thing I would say is integrity. If you're not a person of integrity, it's going to be very difficult to come out of negotiations with what you want. Because, like we said, when you're coming in negotiation, you're going to be able to say, I want this because so and so and so. Now, they've given you what you want. Imagine you're negotiating for a company car. There are organizations where you work and they attach a car to you. After negotiating for that company car, you are still coming late. You are still coming 1 hour behind time. Next time you come to negotiate for something else, people are going to be less likely to give you what you want, because we've seen that over time, you're able to give in, not giving rather, you're able to deliver on what you said you would deliver. So you need to be able to be a person of integrity, be truthful over time, show that what you say is what you do. You walk the talk.
You can actually deliver on your promises.
Exactly. You're not just saying things, you're doing the things you're saying. People are going to respect you more, they're able to believe you. Even when you ask for things that might seem outrageous to other people, they're like, no, that person always delivers. So like they deserve it. Because when you come and say, when you said you were asking for 200k increment and then you're still doing the same level of work, no, nothing new in your quality of work.
Yeah.
When it comes to ask for another thing, like, okay, for what exactly? There's nothing new in
You've
what
been
you're
at the same
doing.
point since.
Exactly. But if you're someone who maybe after that salary increase in the next couple of months, people saw that, okay, the ideas are like so much better, more creativity. When you come and ask for even more, they're like, it's a lot, so, but I've seen what you've done before, and
Yeah.
I'm actually tempted to just agree. So yeah, I'm going to give you that increase. So learn to be a person of integrity. Do what you're going to say. When you go in there, just don't go with your PowerPoint and then you delete the PowerPoint after you've gotten the negotiation and forgotten all the things you said you were going to do when you got what you wanted. So please be a person of integrity. So that's all we have today for you on the Youth and Tech. Just to recap of what we talked about so far, we talked about negotiation today. It has been so amazing. We talked about the importance of negotiation to help you get what you want, and we talked about how it was important to know the skills necessary for negotiation. Some of them we talked about were communication, active listening, reducing, not necessarily reducing expectation, managing expectations, integrity. What else did we talk about? Emotional intelligence, and a couple of other things. It's about the principles of negotiation, which is of course focus on the problem rather than the person. Focus on interest rather than position, meaning that don't come in trying to win per se. Focus more on what it is that you want. So don't come in there thinking it's a war. Know that you can be professional about negotiation. So it's been a very, very fun episode today. Thank you so much, Ima, as always, for coming here every Tuesday to talk about something interesting with me. I know you have an amazing time. I mean, this is like the highlights of your Tuesday. Come and spend time with me on Youth and Tech Show.
Oh, well, as long as they give me money to buy fuel, so I'm going home.
Thank you very much to you lovely listeners for always staying tuned. And of course, my tech lovely young lads. Young, are they young? Tech.
Now you sorry.
Thank you to my tech, to my men in tech behind this scene, who we don't see, who are really the heroes that do not wear cape rather.
Yeah.
Thank you to Caleb, to Chinonso, Samson, to Bombi, to Eze. Thank you for offering me water, by the way, while on set. Thank you to everybody who has made this episode today very lovely. Thank you to our studio manager, Mr. Eze, and to everybody altogether who ensures that Youth and Tech runs very smoothly. So thank you once more to everybody. I had such an amazing and interesting time as always. And this is me saying goodbye and love you so, so much. Enjoy our signature tune as I sign out.
Bye.